Welcome to Gray Overload. I'm Anthony, and AMD has gone out and announced their FSR3 source. So this is for, games and stuff in that arena. And, I'm really about, the open source side of things, and I like to see this from AMD and getting that out there so developers can get their hands on it and put this into their games if they'd like to. And, I'm more of a person that likes to see the higher quality, the better image, more immersive side of things. But there's also the side of where people want to have a faster game or faster frame rates, more frame rates, and that also is in this with the frame generation and stuff like that in FSR3. I'm not much of a competitive gamer, and so it's more to me of I like the campaigns, but I, I actually don't know, since I'm not really that much of a competitive gamer, how much the frame generation actually helps. You still need low latency and everything. You want that responsiveness. So there is that side of it. But let's go over and take a look here and just what AMD is, going through. They kind of went through, and this is complete with full source code for DirectX 12 and Unreal Engine 5. So AMD got this out there for that. They have preview releases in Forspoken and Immortals of Avenue. I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's a game I have not played, so forgive me on that. But this is going to actually help, get into more games. Hopefully, then, as people can see, what it is, that is happening on there, have additional help debugging things. This will, help get games be more reliable and more immersive and not have, tearing issues, etc., that come with games in general. So, and frame rates. But they actually did do something with FreeSync here and variable refresh monitors, kind of showing you a little bit about the differences in, a tear free and then a tear present. And what they did was the developer stuff was to debug tear lines here, and so FSR3 can be configured to with two bars to generate frames and aid in integration debugging. So as we see that this goes through and this open side of things, hopefully that they can start adding even more things into debugging in this whole GPU open side of things, so that well, people can debug better and be able to create that, so you don't have those issues there. And so FSR3 present queue upscaling and frame rate generation pipeline, right? The still frame rate FSR basically 3 is kind of replacing, for the most part, it seems like FSR2, but you still have all the FSR2 side of things, the upscaling part, and you can choose to actually use the frame rate generation if you want. And they kind of go through the path of this as well. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details, because I don't even know all the details. I'm as a developer, I don't work on the game side of things. I just find the open source side of things very, very interesting. Now, AMD does say their Fidelity FX Super Resolution 3. They here's the latest version, what it supports, kind of the APIs that you get. You have source code, full C++ and HLS. Source provided via library, FSR3 DirectX 12 samples. So you can kind of go through and, if you're jumping into this, be able to say, hey, this is, kind of what's there, what needs to happen, and be off to the races for this. So they do have the download here, they have the features, they have the integration of walking through. VSync on, VSync off, debug view, they have the sharpening passes, and that's an optional pass, and then compatibility with what the third-party software is. And they also have this, their AMD OCAT, so that has been validated with it working as well. Some of the same data flows and stuff here of the quality modes, etc., all done on the page, so that if you're going through and doing this, that's already there available to you. Now, the one nice thing about this is I do hope we'll see where Intel gets to on their GPU with XeSS and everything else that is happening. But maybe, at some point, right, XeSS is supposed to be open source. Does Intel and AMD just join up and, Intel jump on board with FSR and start down that path as well? Um, it feels like Intel's kind of getting behind in some of the features that NVIDIA already has. AMD was behind NVIDIA with FSR3 versus DLSS3. So there is that side of things of, at what point, because it is open source, right? It is open. Does Intel kind of just jump in and say, hey, we're going to actually work on this too and get our GPUs performant in this side of things and take advantage to some of the stuff that AMD's already done, put some resources into it. You could see this, remember Qualcomm wants to get, in there as well and start releasing stuff for um, Windows. And I'm sure Qualcomm's going to say, here's how our chips kind of perform on games, because that's going to be a selling point at some time in the future. Do they jump in this? And that's the one bright side to open source and being able to do that. I was reading an article today where Intel CEO went through and said, you know what, with this AI stuff, we want to be able to, get, exceed CUDA, right? Get better than CUDA, kind of get past CUDA, so that there's an openness side to this where it's not just an all closed, you know, closed box that nobody knows what's really going on inside of it. And NVIDIA has an edge, right? They are, selling a lot of GPUs. They have DLSS. They put a lot of money into getting DLSL out and getting it into games. So, AMD is an uphill battle, and one way, to help you go through that is getting it out there and having an open source product where people can contribute to it, people can use it, and people can feel like, oh, I can just jump in and start learning about it rather than going through the closed box system. And this is, things that I, do in my free time is, I go take a look, and I may not use the software. I may not go through, but I like to go through, look through the open source side of things, read up on the docs, maybe try something out just for fun, and then, move on. I like that side of learning of things. And I think, a lot of developers do like that side of things as well. So, there is there's a lot out there, and I'll post these links to the AMD GPU Open stuff below here. But let me know what your thoughts are on the whole let's keep open source side of things, FSR3, DLS 3, and that sort of thing. And also, do you think that Intel is going to actually pick up the pace here with XeSS and start getting some of that stuff out more and push it? Or do you think Intel's just taking a back seat for a little bit? I did a video yesterday on Intel's Meteor Lake, and they were talking about ARC side of that GPU. That's where I really would like them to see, with the XeXS and stuff like that, where it could really benefit is in those thin and light laptops. And jumping on FSR and including that, FSR, right, already works with these other GPUs, right? But being able to put back into the project and saying, hey, AMD, I know this is open source, we'll work with you on this. I mean, Intel has that one API, which is open source, and being able to have some of that cross um, compatibility or cross, support in this open source world, I think would be very helpful to both AMD and Intel right now. I like to see NVIDIA get involved in it too, but I just don't see that. While NVIDIA has a stranglehold on, getting their GPUs out, DLSS, CUDA, all that stuff. They're going to really focus on that until something, catches up and probably passes it to the point of it hurts NVIDIA's sales, right? That's going to be the bottom line. Is it hurting NVIDIA's bottom line, or is NVIDIA staying ahead? So I would like to know your thoughts on all that stuff. For me, open source, you've heard me before, open source, you owning your own device, being able to do whatever you want with it, stuff that goes along that sort of lines, I really like. And so with that, I really do appreciate your support for Gray Overload. Thank you so much for share, subscribing, hitting the bell icon. It really does help out the channel, and it helps actually grow the channel, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, God bless.